This is from Bongino. Biden goes full tyrant. Full tyrant. So let's just run through this whole thing. Let's see, hold on. Somebody's saying what? Good Lord. 4 years GOP. 33.1 in 2020. No. Economic growth 4.6 before COVID. Well, you don't get to count the part where you ignored the threat before. Lowest black unemployment in 50 years before COVID. All these things before COVID, this person keeps mentioning on Facebook, acts like COVID wasn't Trump's fault. And by the way, Trump now thinks and is expressing that it was a bioweapon, and that means that during a bioweapon attack, Trump was president and had his response to it was continue to make a trade deal with the people who attacked us with a bioweapon. So that's your guy. Broker 3 historic peace treaties. No, you can only call it a peace treaty if those countries were at war. The Abraham Accords were just arms deals. Facilitate, normalize, improve relations with 2 Persian Gulf states. Yeah, they normalizing is just trade in between them, and he did it by giving them $50 billion apiece in military gear. Nominated 3 times for Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah, nominated by people that he knew. Median household was hit highest level ever recorded, was on its way up until COVID. Women's unemployment reached lowest in 65 years. All of them were exactly together. None of them narrowed, which means it wasn't due to policy. It was due to economic trends. Almost 3.9 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps since the election. No. Signed the biggest package of tax cuts and reforms in history. Yes. Permanent for corporations, temporary for individuals. After tax cuts, over $300 billion poured back in the U.S. in the first quarter alone. 401k up by 15% before COVID. Again, you don't get to not treat COVID like it was a quarter of his entire presidency, and he pissed it off. Opened ANWR and approved Keystone XL and Dakota Access Pipeline. That's not a good thing. Ended the TPP, where plenty of jobs were exported to other countries, which Obama, Hillary, and Bernie supporters supported. No, Bernie Sanders supporters did not support TPP, even if Bernie mentioned a positive thing for it. Ending it was a terrible idea and benefited China. That's why he ended up with $17 million in a slush fund account the day after he did it in China. His Chinese bank account suddenly had $17 million in it, and he took $15 million out in cash. Signed the VA Choice Act and VA Accountability Act. Bullshit. Obama did that in 2014. Expanded VA telehealth services. No, COVID did that. Walk-in clinics and same-day urgent primary and mental health care, all part of the 2014 bill. Increased our coal exports by 60%. Oh, joy, oh, rapture. Secured a record $700 billion in military funding, $716 billion for the next year. Yes, and basically spent a huge swath of it by not getting us out of Afghanistan his entire time. Net exports on track to increase by $59 billion this year. Immaterial, not his doing. Trump supported the First Step Act, which released 1,000 people from prison, 90% of it. Whoops, it scaled through. Oh, jumped through. Okay, all horseshit. Yes. But again, the fact that somebody would bring that up, may I, just for that, like for old time's sake. Just remember, this used to be it's like a golden oldie. Veterans Access, Choice, and Accountability Act of 2014. Who was president during 2014? Anybody? Anybody know? Anybody on Facebook know who was president in 2014? Improvement of access to care from non-PA providers. That's right. You get to choose somebody you can use outside the VA if you're 30 to 45 minutes outside. That was the modification from 45 minutes drive to 30 minutes. Yeah, Trump did this. Claims processing, let's see, enhanced collaboration, extension of assisted living pilots, independent assessments, technological task force, major facility leases. They got 27, authorizes 27 major facility leases in 18 states and Puerto Rico. They expanded the number of VA hospitals and facilities and licensed care areas, which is what they would do is they would add a VA element to a hospital in an area if it was underserved. New residency position, training and education, military sexual trauma, VBA program requirements, employment disciplinary procedures. This was the VA will revise human resource policy to include penalties for employees who knowingly falsify or require another employee to falsify data regarding access to care or quality measures. VA will limit the amount of awards and bonuses paid to VA employees each year for fiscal year 2015 through 2024. Removal of Senior Executives Choice Act provides new authority for VA to seek removal or transfer of senior executives based on poor performance or misconduct with an abbreviated process for an expedited repeal. That was to get rid of the bad people that were entrenched in the program and you couldn't get them out. So whoever that was that said that was on Facebook, go fuck yourself, stop stealing valor, and stop lying about veterans. I'm well, thank you for asking. So just sit on that and spin for a while. Enjoy yourself. All right, so full tyrant tells businesses to ignore court order. Full tyrant. Do tyrants tell people? I'm confused. So if a tyrant tells you to do something, do you have an option not to do said things that they tell you to? Let's see. Let's see if that lines up, shall we? Full tyrant. One would, let's see. Let's get some, we have to have some sort of perspective, I would think. Let's see. Except, like, we can go with go tyrant for something. We can go into. Let's go into Slobodan Milosevic, tyrant who turned the Balkans into a bloodbath. Does that qualify as a tyrant? That would be full tyrant, right? Milosevic profile. Slobodan Milosevic's road to his Hague prison cell reads like a cliche-ridden movie script, and a bad one at that. Raised in war and hardship, he rose to power by stabbing his best friend in the back, then took on the world, carved out an empire, ultimately saw it crash in flames. At the time of his death, the territory he controlled was limited to the few square feet of his cramped prison cell. Armchair psychologists say the key to understanding Milosevic is his tortured childhood, blah, blah, blah. Both his father, a banker, and others, that it is the biography of him. In 1989, he organized a huge rally in Kosovo to remember the 600th anniversary of the Serb defeat at the hands of the Turkish army. Arrived in helicopter to announce that. When Yugoslavia did fall apart, led by Croatia and Slovenia breaking away, Milosevic's paramilitary units were ready. Slovenia fought a 10-day war before Serb units withdrew, but in Croatia, they introduced the world to a new term, ethnic cleansing, a variation of Hitler's genocide from a half a century before. He never mentioned it by name, but Milosevic was pandering to the centuries-old nationalist dream of a greater Serbia, a land where all Serbs could live together. No matter how terrible the slaughter, how graphic the image of besieged Sarajevo, or of Muslims starving behind barbed wire in detention camps, Milosevic, the great manipulator, was unmoved. One man in particular loomed over all the rest. Ivan Stambolic considered Milosevic his chum, a sort of blood brother when they met as students. Okay, so that would be a tyrant who generally... The Stockholm bloodbath, Christian the Tyrant, and the misaligned Christian the Good, which is an ironic name in that situation. Tyrant, or Reformer, the Danish king behind the Stockholm bloodbath. That guy, full tyrant, just so we... Let's see. Tyrant, The Tenets of Slaughter. It's a good book on that. A lot of stuff on the, in general. But full tyrant. This is full tyrant, guys. Full tyrant. It's in caps. Full tyrant. This is like Slobodan Milosevic meets Pol Pot meets Genghis fucking Khan at Hitler's German-Austrian camp, where he would hang out with his dogs and get a handy from Mussolini while they dreamt up tyrannical things. Full tyrant. Here we go.
So the vaccine mandate, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals put a stay on...
Tells businesses to obey mandate, despite court ruling.
Biden's unconstitutional, immoral, unethical, anti-scientific vaccine mandate. The Fifth Circuit said...
Well... the science that it's against is that overpopulation, depopulation schemes.
Stop. Stop. There are grave constitutional concerns here. Got it? Grave is their word, not mine. Here's an article by CNBC. I thought Trump was the tyrant, folks. White House tells businesses
to proceed with vaccine mandate despite court-ordered pause. Tells them? Okay. What did it entail? Was it at the barrel of a gun?
Proceed with vaccine mandate despite court-ordered pause. You notice how the left always accuses you, the right, of what they're doing?
Well, it would be a show don't tell kind of a situation, I guess. I was thirsty.
Here's another one. Here's this clown Malcolm Nance. I unfortunately wound up in a bus with this guy headed back from Politicon where he embarrassed himself.
And yes, this is genuinely seditious. This is fucked up. And Malcolm's right. Let's hear him defend this. These people are animals. They are savages. They are eager to punish you and destroy you. It is time for mass civil disobedience on a scale we haven't seen. They can't come for all of us at the same time. There are more of us than them.
My wife and told me and my wife that he has spoken to every black voter in the United States. And when we doubled down and laughed at him, he insisted it was true. He's been accused of stolen valor as well. But Malcolm Nance tweeted out, when I had mentioned to people that it's time for civil disobedience on a mass scale because these animals.
Because they are animals, they are savages, they are eager to punish you and destroy you. So what's your answer to, what's the civil disobedience version of that? Civil war is effectively what you're calling for.
Coming after you and trying to bankrupt you and hurt your kids. And they want you to do things antithetical to medical advice. This is grotesque behavior. Malcolm Nance said, now this is sedition. But it's funny, you don't hear anything from Malcolm Nance and others who accuse Trump and people like me of being a tyrant. When Biden says, throw the Constitution out the window, the courts have spoken, and we're not going to listen to the courts. We're going to move ahead with the vaccine mandates instead. So I'm going to say.
Well, again, he didn't say throw the Constitution out the window. I mean, you're going to quote him. Put the quote up, asshole. That's a quote of what you fucking said. You loser. You simp. You moron. You phony.
Something here. If Biden wants to ignore the Constitution, if he wants to ignore the law, he wants to ignore process, he wants to ignore science, morality, and ethics, then you should ignore him.
Where's the morality and ethics of this? Why is saving lives immoral? Obviously, you believe in culling the herd. You think that a portion of your fellow Americans are animals and savages because they want an infrastructure bill, and therefore you believe because they're trying to destroy you with universal pre-K and the option for 2 years of community college, that because they are doing that, that makes them animals and savages. And what do you do with animals and savages? You put them down, of course, in a civil way, because they're not really people.
I am now going to quadruple down on my ask that you engage here in mass civil disobedience against.
Like what? Don't go eat out?
It's clearly unconstitutional, immoral, unethical vaccine mandate.
Immoral, by the way. That's something the tech giants, the tech oligarchs do this. It's immoral.
That could, in some cases, depending on your medical condition and your discussions with your doctor, could in some cases actually harm people.
Government! Do not flee!
Do not flee. This is the perfect.
What the fuck? Dude, trigger your own sound effects. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Medical condition and your discussions with your doctor could in some cases actually harm people.
Government! Do not flee!
Do not flee. This is the perfect. Yes, for those of you who miss Braveheart, this is not the time to turn and run. This is the time to double down.
Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? This is not prima nocta, you asshole. And if you have a medical exemption, you can get one. Everybody who has a medical exemption in this situation can simply get tested and continue to work. What the fuck are you talking about? This is immoral. You're a liar. You're lying. This is a lie. You are lying. Anybody who has a medical reason why they can't get the vaccine can simply get tested It's never been a vaccine mandate. It's always been a testing mandate because we're trying to stop the spread of a disease. And if you have a medical problem that would make it inadvisable for you to get this particular vaccine right away based on whatever fucking information you're saying, because the mRNA vaccine might attack your system, where they get that information is a big fucking question to start with. But even if you did, even if you get that, even if you can, and your doctor says, yeah, that's not advisable for you, that's plenty. Then just get tested, you prick. Maybe you don't give a fuck about your own health, but this is about the health of other people, including, by the way, the people who have a medical situation where they can't get the goddamn vaccine. By the way, he's vaccinated. This is so fucking dumb. The reason you get vaccinated is because there might be these people he's talking about who can't get vaccinated because they have a genuine medical reason why the vaccine might have a bad interaction with them. Where they're getting that information from and whether it's true or not, I'm mildly dubious, but it doesn't fucking matter. If they can get the note and that's what their doctor says, so be it, move on. But they need to get tested in case they bring it into the workplace. And I certainly, if I'm vaccinated or not vaccinated, I need to get tested, so I'm not bringing it to them because they already have enough medical fucking problems to start with. What a piece of shit.
Stop, man. Do not.
Oh, stop. Shut the fuck up. Stop quoting Braveheart. There is zero physical difference between you and I right now in this moment. We're both talking into microphones with a bunch of screens in front of us. The only difference is that aside from our dear CSL who sends me clips because I don't want to have to look at them ahead of time because I want to show off how witty I am, I'm by myself in this fucking situation. I don't have to go to the producer and go, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. Whatever. Anyways, doesn't matter if I'm right anyways. Fuck it. Let's just keep talking.
Please. Just
Real. Seriously. We might need another intervention, guys. Can you guys fly in? We've got a fading man right here. Yeah. His voice wasn't that manly to begin with, and now it's something terrible is happening inside this guy.
It's time to double down. The country has a...
Shut the fuck up, double down. It's time to double down because you lost your radio show, and now you've retreated to a fucking podcast. Eat a bag of frog assholes, you loser. It's not our fault you lost your fucking job.
Storied, celebrated history of civil disobedience against unconstitutional, immoral, unethical laws. It is the left.
Immoral? I thought that was a mistake the first time. Immoral. It starts with an I, dipshit. Immoral.
Is violating process and procedure. It is not you. If the left is going to engage in unconstitutional, clearly unconstitutional behavior, like you're seeing reported right now, you have no obligation to
like fucking what? What is it? What's the clearly unconstitutional part? The testing or the vaccine? Because you don't have to get the vaccine. You just have to get tested.
Whatsoever. The Constitution is our governing document, not the words of the rotting bag of bones.
Yes, provide for the common welfare. Go. Anything? No? You think he could rap for an entire podcast on that, on provide for the common welfare? No?
The White House, the Pino, president in name only.
The Pino. No, he's got a title. He legally is the president, dum-dum.
But remember, folks, Trump's the tyrant, right?
Well, no. He's a former microblogger who's golfing his life away. Who's fading into obscurity after an ineffectual presidency, where he skated on the achievements of the previous administration and the economy recovering from the 2008 recession, and then he screwed the pooch by getting rid of a pandemic response team, and then he wants everybody to act like what happened with COVID was not his fault at all. When, by the way, he would have won if he'd have simply said, this is bad. We're going to have to lock it down, but I'm the guy that guides you through it. Trump's a loser. He's always been a loser.
Here's a protest yesterday in Los Angeles. Do you notice these protests are picking up in New York and Los Angeles? Bastions of far leftism? You think the left would catch on and say, Houston, we've got a problem here.
Yeah, in cities of 7 million people, there's like 300 that show up someplace. Yeah, I'm totally going to change my political beliefs and my concepts about taking care of my fellow man because of in a city of 7 million people, 300 lunatics show up and queuing on a corner in Beverly Hills.
We've got these core areas of liberal support in New York City and Los Angeles, and these appear to be the population centers where the protests are erupting the most. But no.
It's funny how in those places people feel free to protest, whereas if a similar inverted protest of liberals or something and happens in a place like Houston, they fear gunfire. Maybe it's because democracy works better in our cities. Maybe it's because we allow for that, as loony as it is. Whereas you guys want to run the Biden-Harris bus off the fucking freeway. So why would anybody dare do that? Unless it's look at the death threats that came to the AIDS marches, the AIDS walk, and Pride parades in Texas for years.
Tyrants never want to recognize a problem. They just want to crush it. Here's a protest in L.A. County yesterday over these immoral, unethical, unscientific vaccine mandates. Check this out.
We are over Grand Park in downtown Los Angeles, right across from City Hall, and we see a large group gathering and more people coming here.
Anti-vax protesters. Yeah, it's overwhelming, guys. It's how do you even push back against that in a city of 7 million fucking people, and God knows how many of those are from outside the city? Yeah, you're right. They can't even cover the fucking grass at Grant Park. But I'm supposed to change my name. Yeah, I'd give it, I'm thinking 300, 350. No, it's all scattered. This is all patchy. Look at this shit. They're not even gathered together. There's big gaps in this stuff, even in the front. Nothing up here. Nothing, there's trees here, so there might be some people under here. This is all loose. Look at this. People aren't jammed in here. There's nothing fucking back here. There's nothing over on the other side of the street. Who gives a fuck? Do you know how many people have gathered in this area for all kinds of rotten shit? Who cares? Yeah, half are news people.
There's a rally against mandatory vaccinations, law enforcement, firefighters. We've seen a lot of...
Yeah, look at that. There's plenty of elbow room in this crowd. My goodness. Look at that. There's some grass. There's some grass. There's some grass. Here's some grass. Yeah,
no forced vaccinations, stop the mandate. Of course, one of the things they're concerned about is December 18th of this year is a deadline for those vaccinations for city employees.
Yeah, I caught that too. Guy says, notice how they frame it. You hear it, Joe? We see a crowd of anti-vaxxers. There's no that's just simply made up. That's a nonsense media narrative. Again, the media.
No, hey, asshat, go there. Hold on. Let's see. See. Where's the one? Let's see. See. News. Let's see. There was the groups rally against early. Okay, groups rally against early COVID-19 mandate. Let's see if they have. There you go. COVID-19 vaccine makers are exempt from responsibility. Let's see if this comes in. It's going to be an ad first, isn't it? Yeah. So give me 1 second while the ad plays, and we'll come back to that. Remember, guys, they're not anti-vax. They're anti-tyranny. That's why they're there. It has nothing to do with the vaccine. That's all a red herring. They're all just trying to control people. It isn't that they're against, vaccines known cause seizures. Okay. Encephalitis. Our bodies, our choice. Pitchforks. Uses risky new mRNA technology. COVID-19. There you go. That's the Santa Monica rally. Same fuckers, by the way. Man said there's a dueling vaccine protest. The Moderna vax killed my father. Rip RGAB. No jab, no job, question marks. There's tyranny. There's your tyranny one. My body, my choice. Yep. It's just, you have to understand, this isn't about, this is just about tyranny. He always gets that kind of look on his face. It's quite telling.
Oh, God. Sorry. I farted.
Okay.
See, nobody listens to these buffoons anyway. They're not anti-vaxxers. They're anti-mandate. Those are...
No, they're anti-vaxxers. They're also anti-mandate, if that makes you feel better, but they're anti-mandate because they're anti-vax. Fuck off. There's not a bunch of people down there who are going, I need a medical exemption because I've got this skin rash thing and my doctor thinks it's not a good idea.
Completely different things. You can support the idea that vaccination in many cases may be necessary while simultaneously supporting the case that it's an individual decision that shouldn't be mandated by a government that has no power to do.
Well, that's why you can get tested.
The media, they get it. You know, I know the media they're just liars. The media, the guy saying that knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's framing it a certain way to make you all.
No, you know what you're doing by lying about the people that are in that gathering, making it some sort of pro-Trump patriot march instead of the QAnon anti-vax adrenochrome. They're scooping up, they're making children milkshakes and injecting us with RFID chips that look like octopus.
Seem like the lunatics because he's part of the tyranny. That's what they are, the anti-vaxxers. You've interviewed them all? Like Malcolm Nance said he interviewed, he's met every black voter in the United States. You've interviewed everybody down there? They all told you, I am anti-vaccine. I guarantee you almost nobody told you that. You didn't interview anyone and you just made it up.
And you didn't even look. You looked at aerial footage and didn't bother to look at the actual pictures on the ground where they're holding up a bunch of signs about the vaccine.
You just heard.
That's it. That's the bailout. That's it. That's all.
Nobody told you that. You didn't interview anyone and you just made it up.
And by the way, for the record, in case you're wondering, Dan Bongino didn't interview anyone at that gathering and just made it up. For the record.